Hi everyone, James here from Neolithic Dawn. Welcome to our first devlog. For those of you just joining us, since this is the first one, I'd like to catch you up on the story so far. Neolithic Dawn started as a side project of mine a few years back. Back then we just called it the Neolithic Survival Game, and I had no idea it was going to be as big as it is now. I worked at a different VR studio back then. As my day job, I was a gameplay programmer. I had a lot of ideas that didn't quite fit into the project I was working on, and I wanted to experiment around with them. So I'd get home from work and sit right back down at my desk at home and start working out these ideas. The Neolithic Survival Game was my passion project, a physics-based survival game with crafting, free climbing, interactive animals, and this incredible prehistoric setting that I found so fascinating. It was my dream game in VR, the one I wish I had to play. I always knew it was going to be a Stone Age game. That was the best setting for all these systems to really complement each other. The idea of primitive survival, making tools out of sticks and stones, is something we see in a lot of survival games, but it's literally how our ancestors lived every single day. So I did a ton of research and came to the realization that there's actually not that much information on the time period that's easily accessible. So we watched a ton of documentaries and read a lot of books and articles, but you really have to dig deep to find anything more than surface level on how ancient Americans really lived. The truth is, we don't really know that much, and the experts don't have a lot of information left from the Americas before the European invasions. So we know almost nothing about the ancient societies from tens of thousands of years ago, but we do know that people have been living in this land for potentially 100,000 years. But I became dedicated to research, trying to make a game that could at least start the education of this time period and, bring up questions of what it was like in ancient America. I started posting these little videos of my project on TikTok, not really thinking of it, but I heard it was a good platform to post on for indie game devs if you want to get recognized. I was not ready for the reaction I got. Thousands of people right off the bat, just like me, found the videos. They had the same passion. This was their dream game. It was our dream game. And the reaction to the idea just gave me the motivation I really needed to pursue this and keep moving forward. It was a while before everything really took shape. I was still kind of figuring it out, but I knew I had to keep going. So it was mostly memes and gameplay clips I'd post, and gradually we formed a community around them, turned it into the Discord server we have today. Thousands of people are still wanting more and excited to play the game, but at the time I was really not in a place to finish it. I took every penny I saved from that year and decided to quit my job, which was crazy because I really didn't have much. If you ever saw me ring your doorbell and run away, it's probably because I was door dashing to keep food on the table. Trying to keep this up while making content and developing the game was a monumental task, and I was never going to finish it at this pace. So I needed a team. I needed some help, and we started a fundraising page on Buy Me a Coffee. The tribe really came through for me. Seeing that it was possible to work on my dream game without having to spend half my day delivering food was all the motivation I needed to make this my whole life. So I did. And eventually we actually came out to the name, Neolithic Dawn. Shout out to Jushi for coming up with a name for us. This is when the game really changed from a solo dev side project to our own little indie game studio. I had my friend, James Nye, host the servers and run a lot of the behind the scenes jobs for me. Our other programmer, Jose, actually found me. He was working on his own VR survival game, Supervival, and at the time he put it aside to join forces and help make Neolithic Dawn. And I knew Sandy from where I was working before. She helped manage other VR communities and was an active member on our Discord for my last job. So she became our mod and eventually a critical member of the team doing our community management. With the game so early in development, we were still a long way from launch, and we needed more funding to keep the momentum going. So I spent probably the last few $100s I had to travel to San Francisco and attend GDC, the Game Developer Conference. And we met with different publishers there who were interested in the project, and that's when we found Click Games, who's an indie game VR publisher that could help us get to the next step without losing our scrappy underdog spirit that got us this far. It was a really tough challenge taking the bones of the game I was working on and making it into like a fully playable experience. So around this time we came up with the Campfire Hangout, which is our social multiplayer mode. The community can get together and test all the game's mechanics and features as we develop them, along with the multiplayer features that we knew were going to be really important. So we switched over from Buy Me a Coffee to Patreon. It was just a better platform to use. It's what most indie devs and content creators were using at the time. But before we even had a chance to announce it, We had someone already subscribe, and I totally understand. People have been waiting a long time to play this game, so we really wanted to give back to everyone who's supported us so far to be able to play what we have so far. The first build was not perfect. It had its problems, like networking bugs, lots of glitches, endless nights, a bug we called the Blood Moon, which corrupted the game in like this chaotic pink glow. We don't even really know how it happened. But together with the community, we were able to fix these bugs and improve the experience, building new features side by side with your ideas and feedback and improving it for everybody. And that brings us to today. I'm so grateful that you all stayed with me on this journey, and we're going to continue building the greatest VR survival game of all time together. And I'm excited to share this adventure with you. So thanks, that's it for this one. We're going to be doing more devlogs like this to keep you up to date. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you can be here next time for the next one where we talk about the major updates coming to the Campfire Hangout. We got new areas, new animals, and so much more. I'll see you in the Megafauniverse. Neolithic Tribe strong.